going to hear lots of different stories indeed, lots of experiences, insights. By the end of the day, I'm sure whoever you are in the branded content world, when you leave, you will get value out of this day.
Branded content is truly a global phenomenon that we are witnessing firsthand through our network of BCMA chapters and affiliate partners. We offer our members a unique global perspective on what is happening in the wonderful world of branded content.
So the creative industries, it's turning over £84 billion a year. It's growing at twice the rate of the British economy. It's amazing actually what a golden age it is for money going into content. On top of the 2.6 billion a year that public service broadcasters invest in content, and about another 250 million a year from Sky in original content in this country, you've now got the big investment in European content being made by Netflix and Amazon Prime. I know that downside is it brings Jeremy Clarkson back onto our screens, but you know, there are some things we can live with.
We're quite close to Amazon, and they told me that, you know, for my 19-year-old son, Amazon is seen as utility. But what they wanted to do was take that utility and turn it into a brand. And therefore the ability to tell great stories in branded content, TV ads like that, is absolutely core to their focus now. So as Baz said, it's really interesting that a big digital giant now, like Amazon, is seeking those eyeballs, but also those hearts. So reaching those hearts is really, really key.
The situation with branded content today is that the opportunities are growing all the time. You can actually advertise on traditional media like television and radio quite cheaply. You have the opportunity to go after followers on Facebook and YouTube and so on. It's an opportunity for all people who've got real creative drive. Really, this is the age of branded content.
Advertising is content when it's good, and content is advertising when it's bad. So maybe if we can stick to the top one, our audiences and our clients and ourselves will probably have a better time making this stuff. So essentially, if there's no demand for it, just don't make it. It's just as simple as that. So let's just go through some figures. You know, there's 28 billion quid spent on the fashion industry in the UK, but there's no clothes show on broadcast TV. If it's not audience first, then it's audience last. But surely our first point would be, do actually audiences want it? Let's start with them first.
You know, I think effectiveness is guaranteed by, you know, taking a dual approach, which is obviously starting from the audience first, but backed up with rigorous data and even more, you know, rigorous and effective targeting to make sure, you know, the content that we produce is in the right place at the right time and goes to the right audience.
Nobody can actually produce a piece of evidence that brainstorming works. So actually, how does the creative process work? The honest answer is chaos. However, having said that, strategy kind of was at the heart of our creative process. What it does is it helps put the creative work into a place that's more compelling and hopefully more different.
Is branded content somehow on a different planet? No guys, it's not. You know, and eventually you're going to be found out unless you start producing work that is thoroughly thought through, that has a strategic point behind it, that in some way lasts in people's mind and actually engages and entertains them.
We seek where those audiences are, and then we work into that medium. So, you know, if it's a 50+ audience who are mainstream, then you go to ITV Thursday nights. If it's 15-year-old kids, then it's Snapchat.
The language is really important, I think, when you come and talk to creatives, and the last thing we say is don't give us a brief, because a brief looks as though it sounds like it's been kind of curated already in a certain direction that a brand maybe wants to go, and that maybe hasn't been curated by someone who maybe has the experience of a drum or an Endemol Shine. So we say, well, come to us with a challenge. Challenge is a much more open and fluid way of engaging people.
Come to where I am, give me stuff that I want, give me more stuff I didn't know, tell me things, entertain me, inspire me, inform me. And I think that's the role of brands now, to give, is not to move consumers from where they are into their world, but to move their brand into consumers' world and ingratiate themselves and feel a natural part of that world.
I decided to try and make what I like doing a viable lifestyle. So I like going off on expeditions. I wanted to make that viable. There's a brilliant online essay called 1000 True Fans, which if you haven't read it, I'd urge you to read it. And notion behind it is if you've got 1,000 true fans, that is sufficient to make a living, a life from it. And so everything I've ever done in terms of this has been trying to find a core niche of people who really care about what I'm doing. I'm an adventurer, so quite often I work with adventurous brands, so outdoor clothing, watches, cars, that sort of stuff, and the fit then is quite obvious. Sometimes I'm working with brands that are more tangential to that, and then the challenge becomes for both of us trying to tell a story that feels relevant to my core audience, but is also obviously useful to them in order to sell whatever it is they're trying to sell.
If we look at that over a spectrum of types of communications that work best in the short term versus the long term, there's response-based advertising that exists, response-based communications that are very good at driving very quick responses. That might be daytime TV ads, it might be generic search, display ads, etc. And as you move along the continuum here, communications get more and more branded.
Brands and agencies still talk about viral, still talk about the number of organic views being some measure of success. Organic is very different from buying media, buying eyeballs. When you buy the number of views of a video, obviously you know how much you spent and therefore you know how many eyeballs you've bought from that. Then obviously you'll see the difference between the number of views you bought and the number of views that actually happened, and therefore you'll know the organic views.
A lot of content is produced, branded content in particular, for the sake of somebody feeling as though they're doing the right thing, as opposed to thinking about, how is that going to be distributed. Too much of it's a kind of tick box, I've done it, and then the distribution, how it's going to be distributed, is a secondary thought. And really, you've wasted your money, because the two things are inextricably linked.
We're the experts in creating content. We're the experts in these audiences. We therefore know at what time of the day, on what platform these audiences are going to consume something. We kind of, in a kind of non-creepy way, stalked their kind of world so that we knew what kind of content we had to serve at what time, on which platform, at what length, because like the 30, sometimes a video, just a quick snap of entertainment is what they want.
I think there's been a whole rush towards, everyone's so busy, we've got to communicate really quickly, we've got to do things in 3 seconds, we've got to do things without sound, because if that was the case, then Hollywood would be making films within 30 minutes and not 2.5 hours. You need to think about the environment you are communicating to people and then adapt your messaging to that environment.
A lot of people want people like Spamfish to endorse what they're doing, but he is a content producer. He has built an audience based on kind of being himself and knowing what his audience react to. We have to work in the right platform in the right way with the right people. You can't just kind of come up with it might be the best idea in the world, but if it's not suitable for his platform, for his distribution, then it's just not going to have the kind of desired impact.
The attention span of people is decreasing, you can't argue with that, and we are talking to a very young audience as well. They're digital natives, they literally kind of, they need social interaction kind of as part of everything they do. While they have got a very short attention span, Twitch is a very good platform for them because it is live and responsive and interactive. So if they put something into the chat bar, they most likely will get a reaction out because they can speak directly to the people who are on camera.
I think the exciting thing with Twitch is it continues to be a brand new media platform. It's not like the cinema industry or the television industry where there's certain, ordained avenues to success. The great thing with streaming is it is still a brave new world. It's still up to the individual content creator like myself or other people on the platform to make your own content, and you can find out for yourself.
Make sure that you know your core brand offering, make sure you know your insight, and make sure you know your consumers. What we focus on during the games is very much about taking the fan closer to the action and taking the fan inside the team, that our athletes are ordinary people who achieve these extraordinary things, and they really feel like they can relate to them.
I think all content starts with a great insight, and I think it is almost back to basics on honing in on what is your brand's core insight, and then building a proposition and a story around that. And for us, that's very much what we're looking to do in the future.
Ignore the trends, have the ideas, and then push the ideas through the media that are going to work for you. Try lots of stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. But at the end of the day, it needs to be about the customer, the idea, and then choose your channels. Ignore all of the other noise that comes to us on a daily basis in our inbox. and on news sites and everything else. It does not matter.
I mean, if you think about it, we're so much in our infancy in this industry right now. I think ultimately everything is going to become content. I mean, already within Virgin Media, or Virgin Media Business, we define all of our output as content. So even if we're paying for its placement, like those TV ads, like the radio, what we're striving to create at every point is content that people want to watch, they want to listen to, they want to read, they want to engage in.
It really has been extraordinary, and to hear from all the different aspects of the branded content industry and to understand really where the industry is going and how people are very positive about the future, and it was really exciting, the energy was great, and we really feel that people got a lot out of the day and felt that it was, you know, a really excellent event to be at. So we just thank everyone for being there, thank everyone of our event partners and supporters, and really it's about looking now towards the future of branded content, which looks really, really positive.